Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. I'm really glad you're here today. So, you're going to be seeing this video. I'll be releasing it on Thursday the 12th, but it is actually Wednesday. I'm recording it a day early. I've done that with several of my videos this week. I haven't been feeling fine and wonderful. I'm not seriously sick. Don't worry. But, it just feels sniffly and a little ugh. And so when I knew that was happening, I sort of got a bunch of stuff done. So this one I feel kind of is just a little bit current with what's going on. So what is going on? Well, the stock market continues to jump up and down like a roller coaster. The illness that is global continues to ramp up and get stronger, and more cases are being discovered, in countries sort of where they weren't as prevalent 2 weeks ago. So that's going on. There's a lot of pushback against the way the current administration is handling this crisis. Because when they send their leader out, all he says is we're doing a great job, and you're clearly not doing a great job. So there's that. It looks like Biden is securing a fairly strong lead in terms of that nomination. And so really at this point, we're kind of waiting to see how Sanders and his team are going to respond, what they're thinking, what it's looking like. So I want to start first with kind of the White House, kind of the GOP. I mean, you've got, Mark Meadows, who I think today, Wednesday, is supposed to be coming out of self-quarantine. You've got Matt Gaetz. Okay, now that's karma. Okay, right there, that's karma. Anybody who saw that picture of him in that gas mask where he was making fun of this virus, and now he's quarantined, he's self-quarantined because, maybe it wasn't quite the joke he thought it was. And people want to know how karma works. That's how karma works. So I kind of have a not very good feeling in the pit of my stomach that you're going to hear of a lot more self-quarantines and frankly quarantines coming out of the White House, that administration, etc., because they're not taking it seriously, and they're doing what they do to try to maintain the illusion. Like there were supposed to be rallies in Cleveland on Tuesday evening. Those responsibly were canceled, but apparently Trump's re-election rally in that same area has not been canceled. So, this is what you're going to get, right? You're going to get people who end up really, really sick or worse because they're not getting accurate information, and they're not taking seriously really what needs to be taken seriously. So come on down. I think I'm going to tackle kind of the White House, GOP, Trump, kind of in a whole reading, and see if, how much I can get. Hang on. For those of you who are wondering, one of my daughters made this for me for my birthday. Isn't it adorable? And it says, create your own sunshine. I love that. All right. So thank you, Victoria. All right, come on down. Okay, so let's look at the GOP. Let's look at the administration, Trump, the stock market, and this global illness. That's my new way of saying, what I'm saying. Okay, so Trump, GOP, your current state. Trump, GOP, current state. Trump, GOP, current state. Okay. So for a lot of people, the focus continues to remain on money. It continues to remain on how do we cover this up? How do we make the stock market stop going up and down like crazy? How do we kind of look like we're helping people, but, really not hurting ourselves? So there still is a lot going on that is really, honestly, disgusting. Okay, it is a kind of behavior that is just, to this point in time, you would never ever have expected to see in any sort of a democratic society. So there's a lot of push and pull going back and forth. Okay, there's a lot of push and pull going back and forth. Okay, so you have one story that they keep trying to push forward, except more and more people are not believing it. Only people who get their news exclusively from certain radio or television stations are still a little bit in the dark or confused. But for pretty much everybody else, there is some real clarity going on in terms of how serious this is and what is or is not being done to, curb it, treat it, try to get the situation under some degree of control. So, and it's not only in your country. Some countries have responded far more quickly. Some countries are still really, really playing catch up. And frankly, we are not anywhere near kind of the plateau. And I'm going to say that in terms of North America, okay? Canada, US, Mexico. So what you've got going on here is a situation where the optics aren't good. The actual things, the stuff that they're doing, the relief, research, putting money where it needs to go, getting the right people in position to get the message out, that is being seriously bungled right now with the administration that is currently sitting in the White House. And at some point, the misinformation, the lies, the dragging their feet, the playing politics as opposed to putting people's lives and their health first, that is really going to be a big part of what brings this situation to a close, okay? In terms of, in some ways, the writing already is on the wall in terms of his reelection, because what you're seeing is people are really, the more they see of what's going on with that administration, the more and more they are pushing behind the Democrats to try to get this situation strong and resolved. And the more the kind of behavior that is going on now continues, and it's going to, okay, like that's just what's so scary about it. It's going to, because he doesn't see another way out. He won't listen. And you have a bunch of people around him who are just scared to push back. And so they go along blindly with, let's just keep shoveling this under the carpet. Meanwhile, you have like small mountain ranges under the carpet. I also want to say that, there's going to be actually there's going to be more quarantines, as I said, sort of in the preamble. And I would not be surprised if there are some senior members of the GOP who end up actually testing positive and actually getting quite sick. So, or worse. That's all I'm saying. So there's definitely going to be high prices to pay because of the misinformation, because of the money calculus, because they didn't want to make it out to be a big burden because they wanted to maintain business as usual. And they thought that that was going to be somehow magically contain this thing. And it's not. It's just not. So, so there is that. All right, let's see if we can drill down a little bit. They're going to continue sending out mixed messages. I want to say for the next short while, you know what, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like that, like a fairly short period of time. And then frankly, things are going to really start exploding. And it's not only going to be the health component. It is also going to be the stock market component. It is going to be a growing sense that there is no adult running the country. And not only is there no adult running the country, but the party attached to him is also really taking a back seat on this, and they're not running the country. They're not coming even close to what their constitutional duties and responsibilities are supposed to be. So they're going to keep sending out this ridiculous messages, and people are going to stand in front of cameras saying absolutely insane things. But as the losses increase, as the situation gets worse, more dire, you're going to see that the cracks are going to form, and you're going to see new people kind of emerging as the adult and kind of emerging as the strength. So I don't quite know what that looks like. I mean, is it possible literally that the Democrats start almost like their own press conferences every couple of days to update things, to put out a narrative that certainly would appear to be far more accurate? But you're going to see sort of things moving into place where they're not going to be able to get away with this false narrative and this nonsense for too much longer. More and more facts are going to come out. And as I said, when people start getting really sick, either within the White House, within the administration, or because of rallies, there's going to be an incredible backlash, literally, from the very people that there's telling, you know, they're trying to sell this snake oil to. And again, you know, what he's doing, how he's doing it, it's going to bring on completion. All right, it's going to shut this down. It's going to kneecap his presidency and his administration. And frankly, you know, people have been asking me, you know, when do I think that the GOP might sort of start regaining some power in Washington? I'm really confident in saying not for the next 12 years. I'm actually, to tell you the truth, pretty confident in saying probably not to any significant degree for at least the next 2 decades. So there is going to be a really steep price that gets paid because this situation has not even okay, so really interesting picture. Okay, so the visual I just got was literally like somebody chasing, it felt like a dog wolf combination, right? Like a big kind of ferocious animal. And they're chasing it. They're going after it, and they're trying to drag this guy's tail and to try to stop the forward momentum of this beast sort of rolling forward. And the people who were trying to grab the tail have not even taken into consideration what happens when that critter turns its head and snaps. And that is what is going to happen. You're going to have literally that snap where it's all going to just sort of fall apart. And again, don't expect this to be a big boom. It's going to be incremental until the straw broke a back, right? The straw broke the camel's back because it was one thing after another after another. This also, you could also say this, death by 1,000 cuts while still in office, not to mention what's going to happen when some of these people are out of office. So this is kind of the current situation. This is sort of what's going on. Now, the upside is just based on the number of people and the number of people out there who are voting throughout this caucus and primary season, clearly more and more information, more and more awareness is happening about really how precarious the situation is. Again, it's not only about the health thing. It is about the stock market. It is about frontline workers, first responders, not being trained properly and not being protected properly. It's a bunch of stuff. It is about the GOP's adamant refusal to take this seriously and to get more funding and additional funding into place. It's about them not acting aggressively or assertively to try to help people who are going to be put in very precarious financial situations, never mind health situations, because they don't have an income of $150,000 a year, and they're working hourly or they're working 2 or 3 jobs, and who exactly is going to pay for them when they end up having to go into quarantine, or their business, the business they work for, ends up having to close down for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So there's going to be a really large backlash, because so far what has happened, what has kind of worked in the GOP and Trump's favor, is that there has kind of been this sense of, well, these are tough times because Obama made a mess of things, and so we're just going to have to sacrifice. That's kind of been the mentality that has kept that sort of grouping of people kind of behind him, right? They have bought into the narrative that it's such a disaster, that the only way to fix this and turn it around is with really big sacrifices. Well, you know what? That works until such time that people start to recognize and realize that what they're sacrificing is their health, their livelihood, and whatever financial stability or security they have or hope to have or wished they had. And that creates a significant pushback. So it looks kind of like there he is. Yep, there he is. So it definitely is feeling like there's stuff. There are things going on behind the scenes. There are conversations. There are things that are being put on the table. And honestly, some of it is so callous that there really is a sense that if people actually knew about some of the stuff that's going on, I want to say like kind of in the back rooms or quietly, they would be beyond appalled. Like literally, there is talk about things like ensuring that poorer areas just receive the bare minimum in terms of treatment or testing or care, because there really is this attitude with the GOP that they're not worth it anyways. They're just like parasites on the government. And there's going to be stuff that comes out not only in the next little while, but honestly, as this administration comes to an end and things start getting released, like that whole freedom of information or whatever else goes on, people are going to just be horrified at the callousness, the lack of feeling, compassion, concern, empathy that is being spouted behind closed doors. And it's going to be like really not good. So there is a sense that this is dirtier and more corrupt than even what we're seeing on the surface now, which is really not putting them in a very good light. Okay, so you've got both the Two of Cups and the Lovers showing up back to back. So what that's talking about literally is partnerships. It's talking about partnerships behind the scenes. It's talking about partnerships that you see in public, right? So like Pence and the CDC, that kind of thing. That has created like a partnership, right? Some of them are going to try to straighten out and kind of move forward in a more responsible way, but some of them really continue to be impacted by the rhetoric and the higher wishes, frankly, of the administration and that whole monetary aspect to it. I have to tell you, this Four of Swords is a little bit concerning, especially because we now have the Four of Cups showing up here. So what this is looking like is, okay, you've got kings, so you've got people in power, okay, you've got Trump, you've got, Mitch, you've got Pence, okay, not that Pence is actually in power, but you've got these different fractions. They're not liking what's going on. They don't want to accept the realities. They don't want to take the right steps. And ultimately, not only is it going to lead to actual physical illness, but it is also going to lead to, I want to say almost like reversals in their fortunes, however that plays out. So there's definitely going to be, there really is just a feeling that there's going to be way more illness and sickness and loss. And again, I'm not only talking, the stock market and this thing are like, they keep meshing together, and it's like one is going to dramatically and seriously impact the other. And just look what's been going on in the stock market for the last little while. It drops 2,000, it regains 300. Then it drops 700, then it regains 500. Then it drops 1,000 and it regains 2. This is a downhill slide, and frankly, you can't celebrate those small incremental wins when you're talking about the kind of losses that are being sustained. And what impact does this have? Like, excuse me, what actually does that end up looking like 2 months down the road? Hang on, I'm back to my tea again. Yeah. Okay, so that's honestly, that's sort of just where we're at right now. We're at a position where people are still being driven by the markets. They're still being driven by catering to big business. It's still being driven by not by protecting big business and powerful friends than it is about actually dealing with the realities of the situation. And it's going to take people in powerful positions getting sick for that kind of momentum to start reversing course, right? People are actually going to have to start getting really, really sick in higher positions, people with positions of power or their families or family members. And only then is when you're going to start seeing people go, wait a minute, we need to balance this out a little bit more. We need to look at this differently. This is actually more significant than what we're admitting. And they're going to hope that they're going to get points for that. Well, you know what? They're not going to get points for that, because when it comes right down to it, the higher vibrational emotions and reactions, compassion, love, support, all of those more positive elements are really going to be what enables the people to pull together and function as a unit. And whether that is Democrats coming together, joined by independents and Republicans, there is going to be this force that comes together, because on just a real basic and human fundamental level, this kind of behavior, this kind of dereliction of duty, this kind of there's a clear and present danger, and I'm just going to ignore it because you know what? It doesn't fit in with my narrative. That is all going to be brought down because there is a movement towards a more inclusive and a more gentle sort of reaction to things. And do not for 1 second think that the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi, do not for 1 second think that they are being quiet, or that they are not doing anything, or that there is not plans and strategies in place, because they are working very, very diligently behind the scenes to try to shore up what can be shored up, in some cases to try to push through and force aid packages, whether that's for, corporations like, that are going to, hospitals, that kind of things, or whether it is on a more mundane person-to-person, human-to-human level. But there's going to be this coming together, and the Democrats can see it, they can feel it, and to some degree, they really are. They're not controlling the narrative, and they're not really directing it as much as they're being very aware of the course that, if you will, the river is traveling, and they're moving along that same river of public sentiment, public thoughts, public worries, and definitely it looks like there's really going to be there's some serious change coming, because you know what, this is just. Okay, this is going to bring it down, all right? It might not be all of it, and it might not be right away, but the fighting is going to continue to increase within the party, as a lot of these people have to go back to their districts and start facing the music. What is going on behind the scenes is going to become more vile, more vicious, more insane, more detached from reality, and down it comes. So I guess what I'm trying to say to you, is these are really hard times. I mean, people everywhere in every country are concerned, they're worried, they don't like what's going on, they don't like what they see. And it's going to take a step-by-step thing. It just is. I wish I could tell you it was just going to implode on March 31st at 2:45 in the afternoon. It's not. It's going to be incremental, the straw that broke the camel's back, literally, because you can only have so much incompetence being disregarded for so long. If I did not mention it before, gotta love Harvey Weinstein's prison sentence, 23 years out of the possible 29. So good. And hopefully that will encourage more stories to come forward, more women to come forward. And it is now setting sort of a standard or precedent. And he's not the first one. He's sort of the second or third one. I mean, there was Crosby and whoever else, right? So what is happening is there is starting to be a very firm foundation about what those kinds of behaviors are going to result in terms of criminal behaviors and criminal charges and, incarceration. And so you can, again, rest assured that there are some people who are getting very nervous and very agitated about that. And it's only going to take maybe 1 or 2 more people coming out because they now feel, that you actually can take on somebody really big and bring them down. Do not be surprised if kind of that energy also does not enter into the current energy, okay? More things come, more things come. Okay. Continue to take care of yourself. Be well. And I will see you really soon. Bye-bye.